So I've just completed a Creatrix session with a extraordinary woman, someone who I'm really, grateful for as a client, as she is, just remarkable. I'm just going to stop there. New recording. So I've just completed a Creatrix session with an extraordinary woman, somebody who I greatly respect and admire, and who in her life is very successful. She is an entrepreneur. She is also a consultant. She goes into big organisations and makes a really big difference in their world in regards to their business and to the people that are in there. And what we worked on today was something that was quite deeply embedded that even she hadn't even been able to articulate. And this woman has done an enormous amount of work professionally and personally and really done extensive training. So she was quite surprised when in the listening that I had there that had nothing there for me to bring into the space except a very deep listening, was to hear that she had, I can't be, the exact words were, why even bother? Now, this is somebody who is been experiencing, being stopped and stuck in a certain part of her life, yet quite surprised because in other areas, despite all the chaos and the noise and the outside externally, she is thriving at the moment. Her business is thriving, she's thriving, yet there is an area of her life where she's really stopped and stuck in. So to discover that there is a really deep-seated, very, very deep unconscious-seated belief, epigenetically, which is, in every cell of her being, is a belief that why even bother? It actually was extraordinary to her that even could be there. And then what that created was also the recognition that because she was stopped and stuck in a certain area that was really important to her, that she felt like a failure. And so we went through the process of doing the Creatrix and completely got rid of why even bother and I'm a failure. And I got to say, the intensity beforehand, because part of this work in Creatrix is to really have an understanding of the impact of how this shows up and to be really present to just what that's costing in a woman's life. And this was sitting at a scale of 0 to 10, at a 9 to 10, really high intensity as to the physical aspect in the body, let alone all the different areas that this was playing out once we unpacked that. To then get to the other side and no pain, no reliving the past, none of that old school stuff that exists out there in Creatrix. You don't have to go and recreate it to learn or anything like that. To see the difference, the liberation, to see her just glowing and be, this different, it was like she was a different woman. And she even acknowledges like, oh my goodness. And to describe back to her some things that she was saying previously to what she had said afterwards in re-rating, it was like poles apart. It was just so far apart. And what I'm particularly thrilled about and why I wanted to share this with you is I could see that there was this vitality about her. Her whole physiology and physicality had transformed. She looked like a different person. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not saying that flippantly as blah, blah. I'm saying it as I witnessed in front of me a woman who looked different, who looked lighter and felt better about herself. And she'd gone from a 9 to a 10 intensity to a 0, 1. Like, it was unrelatable to her, those two things, that they were even something that she could consider, let alone that would be there as part of her way of being. This is why I do this work, you know, to work with you know, amazing, extraordinary women, no matter where they are in their life, and to have them go from being completely stopped and stuck or confused or overwhelmed or just incredulous of, you know, how can this even be happening? I don't understand. And you know, I've tried everything and, you know, I'm giving up. And then to have them put their trust and faith in me to go, you know what, if you're really, really ready to give that up and you don't want to be in the impact of that anymore, and you want to live a life that's, you know, free to be, free to choose, and, you know, absolutely free to thrive, then let's do it. And they go, okay, I'm all in, 100% in. And in partnership, we work together, boom, and it's gone. And to see them on the other side just being like, yay, what can I create now? You know, what's possible? And you know, as I'll check in with her over the coming days and weeks, and as I have with my other clients, and they are just in a different world. Like, those things do not impact them anymore. Doesn't mean that they don't have emotions. Doesn't mean that I, as someone who, you know, has done this work extensively, because I can't be a transformologist unless I'm, you know, totally in integrity with myself and my work to be able to show up and do this work. Does that mean that I don't feel, you know, disappointed or get upset or angry or get happy and joyful or, you know, get confused by things? Of course, I'm not a robot. I'm a woman, you know, and we feel things. Things come up, stuff happens, it gets in the way, and we go, oh, and we can be stopped for a moment. But the thing about Creatrix is because we don't stay stopped. We don't stay caught in a chronic cycle of upset or disappointment or anger or, you know, I'm not good enough or I'm unlovable or, you know, I'm a failure. We don't get stopped in that stuff anymore. So this is the beauty about it. It's like those things can happen, life can happen, stuff, being a highly technical term, can happen. And it's like, okay, now what? What's possible? Okay, well, let's go. And it doesn't go back. And that's why there's 100% guarantee that it won't come back, because it doesn't. It's not something you got to keep revisiting, not something you got to keep working at, not something that yes, of course I have to go and take action. Yes, of course my client now will go and take action. In fact, she's taking action right now. But it's from a place of freedom and liberation, in that it's not having to be through the heaviness and burden of, in her case, I'm a failure, or why even bother? You know, so there's a freedom, there's an ease, there's just, you know, a space to be able to be. And that's what I want for every woman. I want any woman that's watching this right now to be able to experience what's truly, truly possible in your life. And for you to know with every fibre of your being that no matter what, you are free to be, free to choose and free to thrive. That you can be in any given moment fully self-expressed and do so with integrity to yourself, be fully authentic, and know that no matter what, you can create, and you can create possibility, and that you have the support of someone like myself as a transformologist to be able to, you know, ask the kind of questions and be able to do the kinds of things that I can do as an accredited transformologist to enable that you to stay free to be. And that's why I do this work. So much love. This morning I had a session with a client, a coaching session, and I just want to share with you in regards to what that was like to have the experience of being in a bold, wholehearted conversation, because that's the foundation of my work. When I work with any client, I create a space of trust and safety and a really strong connection. You know, the rapport is there and the trust and the safety is there, that there is a freedom to be fully in the moment and not have to censor or check oneself. And that's what all of my clients say to me, is to be able to have that freedom is just extraordinary, because for some it's the very first time that they can do that, and know that they're not being judged, and know that they're just being held in a space of complete love, with no judgment, and in a space of where it's going to be what's possible. That I'm not going to speak to the kind of identity that somebody can be in, that, you know, without them even knowing that they're in a victim mode, or they're in a brat mode. You know, the person that I was coaching this morning, you know, in the past, she had shown up like a real brat. But because there's such a strong connection there, and there's such authenticity and integrity and straightness and boldness and wholeheartedness, I could speak to that brat and say, cut it out. And so this morning there was no brat, but what was there was a really smelly kind of way of being that was like, this just doesn't sit good. What's going on here? And despite hearing all the words and all the deflection, and you've got to know that when you work with me, I can sniff deflection out, like I'm going to tell you, like 100 kilometers off, because I used to be a master deflector. I used to be that person that would just so easily, in any kind of way of being, a conversation, deflect. So you didn't get over here too close to really know what was going on in my world, because it all had to appear like I had it going on, that there was nothing wrong here, don't get too close, because then I would get rejected and abandoned, and you know, you wouldn't think that I would be any good to do my work. So when deflection shows up, and it typically shows up in the way of justification, it can show up in the way of denying, in storytelling, all sorts of ways. And whenever it shows up, it's smelly. And my role as a high performance coach, as someone who's committed to transformation in my clients, I'm going to call that shit out, because it ain't serving any purpose other than keeping my clients stopped and stuck, and I'm not going to stand for that. So this morning in this conversation, there was a whole world of pretense going on. It was a lovely performance, I have to say. So much so that when they really got what was going on for them, they were like, that was pretty impressive. And I was like, yeah, but it was very smelly. It was really, really smelly, because what that was doing was keeping this extraordinary, amazing, amazing woman who is so committed to creating a world where other women are free to fully express themselves, is the best way that I can put it for her. So committed to that, and taking a ginormous action towards that, and really making a difference in lots of people's lives. There was this whole pretense going on, and staying stuck in what I call old world stuff. And it took the relationship that we have, the connection, the solidness, for me to be able to say the kind of things that I was able to say in that conversation. And for her, no matter how challenged she was at different times, you know, sometimes, you know, as she shared with me, it feels like a whack in the gob with a wet fish, like what the hell? But she knows that for me, it's always, always, always from a place of wholehearted love, and from a place of absolute commitment and determination for the transformation, for that old stuff, that old shit that has her stopped and stuck, to be gone, and that she can be free and in the space to completely create whatever is possible, whatever she gives her word to. And that she can do so from a place of love and joy and creativity, which are three values of her that are really, really super important. So I wanted to share that with you, because to have that kind of conversation, and to hear the difference, and to hear the joy and vitality that was in her voice afterwards, and to hear that sass that was back, that was very authentic. It wasn't a performance. It was true and authentic. And to just know the excitement and joy that was genuine, that was there, and for her to be able to go and take action in alignment with that now just fills my heart with so much joy, just fills me up with, well, what else is possible? And I know that the ripple effect of her being in that place now will have a massive impact on her, intimate relationship, her family's relationship, her community, her social community, all the different people in her life, because she's choosing to show up in the way now and be the kind of amazing, incredible, sassy, gorgeous woman that she is out there in the world, committed to make a difference, that she's able to have fun doing that as well. So that's why I do this work. And that's why the lioness factor is so, so important to me, being out here in the world, having these kind of conversations.